November 29th. It's episode 324 of the 359 podcast. I'm BBG, and your hosts today are Alfred and Roger Cheng. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
What up?
We have a jam-packed show, and we have little time to waste.
Jam-packed, yeah. We're going to be talking about Snapchat's new design, more personalized design, whether or not it's actually going to win people over. We're going to talk about a big vulnerability in High Sierra, Apple's latest Mac OS. And lastly, we're going to geek out about the Avengers Infinity War trailer.
Gotta do it.
Gotta watch it. If you haven't, Brian hasn't seen it, so we're probably going to spoil it for him.
Great.
Yay.
Spoilers, there are a lot of Avengers there. So
They avenge something, I think.
there's lots of avenging going on. Yes. So without further ado, if you have any comments, or if you have questions, leave in the comment section. Brian will get to the best, and we will try to answer them in 3 minutes to 59 seconds.
Hangout. We'll see you in 3 minutes and 59 seconds from 3, 2.
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Alfred.
Snapchat unveiled its redesign, promising a more personalized experience that broke up the social and media aspects of the service by adding a friends section for your social circles and updating its discover section for the media part. Yeah, it seems like this is a bit of a Band-Aid. I mean, they promised a big redesign. What do you think about
I mean,
this?
I don't think it's a Band-Aid. I think it was a big problem for people who were trying to jump on Snapchat, and I think their biggest issue was growth, right? They weren't getting as many users as they could, and I think a big barrier for that was a lot of people just don't get how Snapchat works,
Right.
and they don't get their layout or anything like that.
I don't know if these changes are really going to make things a lot easier for people jumping into it. I mean, they're still starting, when you launch the app, it still starts with the camera, which is a bit disorienting for new users. They say there's going to be a more explicit friends section and a more explicit discover section. I don't know if that's going to be enough, though.
I think it will. I think the core of Snapchat, why it got so popular to begin with was people wanted to share stuff with their friends, and then all this Discover stuff kind of crept in, and I hated it. I thought it was really annoying.
But the problem here is that it feels like for existing Snapchat users, this might be a better experience,
Yes.
but is it enough to get people who are, who haven't really heard about Snapchat or just trying to figure out what Snapchat is it going to make it easier for them?
That not so much. I don't think it will. I think they're changing things for their menu interface, but not so much on how to use the app or anything like that.
They also talked about for 2018 the goal was to make the Discover platform easier for partners to share the content as well as make money, so to try to get more partners to jump onto it. But again, I don't know if that really addresses the core problem of attracting new users who aren't familiar with Snapchat. All right, next up, Apple had a pretty big vulnerability come up with the latest Mac OS, High Sierra. Alfred, take us through the details.
So this isn't even a technical vulnerability. If you went to your login and you just typed in root as the username and just kept pressing, enter without a password, you were given system admin access to the accounts. From there, you could change all the passwords on Keychain. You could access File Vault. You could change the passwords for the other accounts, so you could log in on that as well. Apple put out a statement yesterday basically saying, yeah, we're working on this and we're working on a patch for this. So definitely update your laptops if you have Mac OS High Sierra.
So there is a fix, though, right? You could basically set a password for the root account.
One of the some of the workarounds that they've had, the simplest one is just setting a password for the root account, which it doesn't have currently by default.
Seems like a big omission.
You could also make a root username and then make it a password for that, which
that seems like overly complicated.
It's just one of those things that really should have been there by default, and it's such a glaring error on Apple's behalf. It's ridiculous that it took this long for them to even find out about it.
Seems like I need to update my tech turkeys again. All right, lastly, did you see the Avengers Infinity War trailer?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did all morning instead of working.
Good to hear as your boss. Let's geek out over it. I mean, so many different characters, so many different combinations of characters. I think that's what excites me most about this, the fact that you get these existing franchises and you're just kind of mashing them all up. And you're getting different interactions like the Falcon and Black Panther.
It's really cool to finally see it all coming together.
Yeah.
I like from the first Iron Man movie where after the trailers, after the credits when Samuel L. Jackson shows up.
Yep.
And stuff, and then for all that to lead up to this, it's weird. It's weird that this is only 6 months away.
I know. It was kind of surreal that that this has been a culmination of more than a decade.
Yeah, it's insane.
Filmmaking. I will note though, I did have a chance to watch the footage at Comic-Con, and it is different. They actually showed a lot more in terms of the battle between Thanos and the Avengers, and Thanos was clearly kicking their butts. This kind of hints at it in the trailer, but I'm excited. I'm super stoked for this. All right, for more of these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Alfred Ing.
Thanks for listening.
Holy crapple, Apple.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Seems like every day we're talking about like another dumb
Holy
security
crab apple,
issue.
Snapple
I
apple.
think the entire time I was writing this story, I just had to take several pauses. Like, this is so dumb. This is the dumbest vulnerability.
I mean, like, you too can feel like a hacker by pressing enter 4 times.
It's one of those situations where it's like you don't need any skill.
But if you're just to clear things up, if your Mac is locked, can you still pull off? You just hit root and then you hit enter 4 times. You log in?
No, because you have to change the account, right? Like,
okay, got it.
But if it's locked, I can like log out of that.
Oh, and log back in
as root instead.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Which is just as bad.
Yep. And then from there, I can change the password to your account, so then I can get in on that, and then
that's all kinds of terrible.
It's almost impressively bad.
Right.
Like I'm kind of in awe of how bad that is. That is like Bush League Junior Programming 101 flaw.
Yeah, that's why every time I think about it, like, this is so stupid. It's clearly something that they like didn't anticipate or like just didn't look into or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was just,
But
how dumb is that?
How many people lose their job over this?
But I do wonder if this is an omission or if this is one of those things where like they changed a line of code here and it changed the mechanics of the line of code over somewhere
Yeah,
else.
I mean
right?
that's usually how bugs work out. I mean,
Right.
Apple's been kind of
It's not like they
about how
purposely or I mean I doubt they would have just omitted this
Yes.
intentionally, not intentionally, or even had like a oversight. It could have been one of those things where like they changed around something with the user interface and that messed with that. Just saying, like it may not be. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But it may not necessarily be like just a case of oversight.
Yeah, so a big reason why this is such an issue is like when like we've talked about so many like vulnerabilities over the last year where like something like crack,
Yep.
where everyone says, oh, all these devices are affected by it, but then you can kind of settle down for a bit after realizing like the technical capabilities that you need to be able to do something like that anyway.
Yeah.
This one is not that. Like we
Yeah.
all did it on like our like lab computer
Yep.
like yesterday, and it was just ridiculous how easy it was.
Good God.
I know.
Before we go full on geek, since I'm still in the dark about the Avengers trailer,
sorry.
let's floor a couple questions. Matthew Datcher, the Datch in the chat. First
What
of
up?
all, 2017, the year of the breach.
Yeah, I
call
do
it
have a
right
story
now.
on that.
Yeah. We've got Alfred's got a nice little piece coming.
Oh, good God.
Talk about that. It's
But-
a nice piece, but it's a terrible subject.
Fair enough. He wants to deviate back to a topic from a couple of days ago,
okay.
and discussing the phone cameras again. Is there really enough of a difference between the cameras to get someone to change ecosystems? That's a great question.
I don't
I
think
It's
know.
something we have
there
to ask
I
all the time.
sincerely
Though.
don't think there
I don't
is.
think so. I mean, I think cameras are very important to the purchasing decision, but if you're locked into one ecosystem, like especially this year, they're very comparable. And there are specific needs or specific
Yeah.
cases where one is better than the other, but overall they're not. Neither are terrible.
I think
so
I
they're
think
just
they
not
were I
enough
think
to
there was
make
such a
you switch.
large gap in the past that like you could make that argument. Like I switched to an iPhone like in 2012.
because Android cameras were just not cutting it.
Yeah, and I switched to it in like 2012 or so, and then now though, like if I had to pick, it's just like all these cameras are actually pretty damn good. So
Right.
it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And plus, I have both ecosystems, so it doesn't really.
Yeah. Play both sides.
It's interesting to me that that's become such a high selling point for any
The camera?
phone, is that the camera is like top tier kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Oh,
And
no,
that's a very,
totally
I know I
is. It
sound like
totally
an
is.
idiot for even thinking about that, but in a million years, well, maybe like, let's say 15 years ago, did you really think you're going to have such a high powered camera in your pocket?
No.
I mean
In
that
any instance.
that used to be a major selling point for like what you want to buy, like how good is the camera. But now, like when all the cameras are essentially like the same, I'm starting to wonder like what the next selling point is going to become.
3D!
Does the phone fold? I want the phone that folds. Damn it. I don't know. That's just me.
I take a moment to appreciate the little things and how we've got ridiculously powerful cameras in our
No,
all
I
of
still
our
remember
pockets.
like our feature, like the camera on the Razr, the original Razr phone, and like it took like it was like a 1 megapixel photo or something like that. It was like
I looked buff as hell on those photos, though.
Yeah, no, I
You
looked
could
way
barely
better
see.
because it was like all my complexion was a lot clearer because
It's
it's
like,
just blurry.
Look at all
Yeah.
3 pixels of the.
Yeah,
HD flaw exposure.
there we go.
Great question from MP Cody. Is the Mac issue only on High Sierra, or is it all previous versions
It's
as well?
only on High Sierra.
Sierra.
Yep.
So at least a little solace in that, since a lot of people
Yeah,
haven't
if you
upgraded
haven't
yet.
upgraded, then you're fine.
And the thing about High Sierra was that basically like hours before it had released, a former NSA hacker who worked for a security company now also showed another bug with their passwords, like on the keychain, that like you could extract all the passwords from it if you had an app.
Jeez.
And they patched that too, but it was just one of those things like, wow, man, passwords are not really safe on this right now.
And just to refresh and elaborate for a couple people who've come in late, the problem that we're experiencing now is if you have High Sierra, you can type in root as your username and no password and
just
instant
log in.
admin login.
Yep.
Just hit enter.
Yeah,
4
it's not
times.
even. They don't even make a new account with like guest features. Or it's when we checked it and then we logged back out to log back in as root. They changed the name to system administrator, so it's literally system admin's access, and you
Wow.
have complete permissions on everything.
This is what happens when you rush stuff. Some poor soul is going to lose his job because
Well, I
he
don't even
didn't
know
have
if
a
they-
chance to go back and
I don't know if they
spot check
even
himself.
rushed anything because they put this out to beta. This is the same cycle that they have every year for a new operating system. Like it's just, I don't know. It is just phenomenally dumb.
Yeah. So we are almost out of time, and I need to learn more about the Avengers as a tried and true comic book fan. I'm disappointed in myself for not seeing this yet.
So they're kind of like the Justice League, but with Marvel superheroes.
I'm aware of that. But
There's
no,
a guy with a shield. There's a guy with like some metal armor.
He's like
or
Metal
something.
Man or
Metal
Aluminum Man.
Yeah.
So what was your takeaway from the trailer? But just to kind of like bolster me into...
I know that this is gonna be like a 2-part. Like Infinity War is supposed to be 2 parts, so
But I thought they backpedaled on that.
No. Well, it's
they
Infinity War. I think it's going to be its own like title or whatever. But it's supposed to be like a 2-part Avengers. thing.
So I'm completely predicting like this whole movie they're just
It's
introducing
another setup.
Thanos and just getting their asses kicked. Like I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that's the whole movie.
I imagine things get like really, really terrible by the end of the movie, and then like the
Who dies?
It was like to be continued.
Who dies?
Probably.
Although, is there
what's
actually?
not the Vision? Vision definitely dies.
Yeah, nobody cares about Vision.
Yeah, he
Well,
has,
there is a pretty there's a pretty not graphic but dramatic scene with the Vision and Thanos is able to
he
extract
takes the Mind Stone
the
from
Mind
him.
Stone.
I'm
Is it the
like,
Mind
he
Stone?
yeah.
Soul Stone? Mind Stone. All
He
right.
definitely dies. Like there's no way he doesn't die.
Does he go back to being Jarvis? Does he get like demoted back into Tony's
Although
suit?
there was, I don't know if I want to spoil it for Brian, but there was a scene with the
It's
Vision.
a trailer.
All right, good. Then there's a scene with the Vision where he wasn't in his android makeup. He was like in his.
Yeah, but can't
was,
he
you know,
like
human.
use his powers to
I'm just
transform
wondering.
what he looks like?
Yeah, no,
Maybe-
he can.
maybe
He can.
that's what
He
it
can
is.
totally use his powers to like
But it's never
project.
been.
He's like the
been
Martian
shown in any of the
Manhunter.
movies, though.
That's true.
So it was just interesting to
You
see.
think that's
But
just
he
Paul-
had the thing
the
on his
stone,
head.
yeah.
So.
You think that's Paul Bettany just showed up one morning? He's like,
He's
I don't
like,
want to
"Yeah,
sit in
makeup."
makeup 6
No.
hours.
No, it was.
just
Like, all right.
pretend like I'm the
It was a
Vision.
very intimate scene
Feige
with,
rewrites a script
with
real
the
quick.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
not
ew.
not intimate like that. Well, it was a romantic scene,
So do we have to do like another sex robot story at CNET or something like that?
possibly.
Ooh, yikes!
And then Captain America rocks a beard. You probably knew about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Yeah.
I think they should all have beards. I think Black Widow should get a beard too.
Hulk with a beard.
Like in World War Hulk. Oh no,
Planet
World War
Hulk.
Planet Hulk.
Yeah. I don't know if it was in World
Oh,
War Hulk.
yeah,
Planet
yeah,
Hulk,
yeah.
Hulk, he definitely had a beard though.
And it also happened in Old Man Logan, I believe. He had a beard, maybe. Or no, End of the Earth. I forget what story arc it
No.
was. There's one where
the
it's like
Hulk?
Hulk is the sole survivor
Wasn't the Hulk
of
dead?
Earth.
The Hulk's dead in Old Man Logan.
no, no.
Mm-mm.
I thought it was like his kids were around.
Yeah,
His
because
kids
it was
are
like the
around.
mutant.
Oh,
like-
he's still there.
He keeps mutating.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's awesome.
I
You can
kinda
go read that.
Kind of forgot the storyline. No, I will say, like again, the Comic-Con footage did show a lot more of the action. We got to see the new Spider-Man suit, which is kind of
Yeah,
awesome.
Iron Spider.
The Iron Spider suit. It's kind of cool.
If you watch, did you watch the Spider-Man movie?
The Homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah, I
you
saw
know,
a
at the
couple
end how
times.
he
That-
shows him
that's
like
to the
his-
end.
Oh, yeah.
he
So he
wears
puts
it.
it on.
So he does finally
Yes.
take his
Yeah.
offer
Yep.
and becomes a full-blown Avenger.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
and then there's some
stoked.
sort of weird ring, like that appears in the middle.
Yeah,
or-
it's like a giant portal and it like destroys
I
a
guess
bunch
it's
of
a
stuff.
portal. It's not really clear if it's a portal or. I guess it's gotta be a portal.
Yeah.
But-
That's the Infinity Gauntlet for you. Doesn't Thanos like smash a moon or something like that?
So it's not in that trailer, but I did see that footage.
That was
of
in the
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con footage leak.
That was as implausible as that sounds. Like he smashes the moon into the planet.
Implausible. It's a movie about
No,
superheroes.
but no, that can look really bad and fake, right?
Oh,
but
yeah,
for some reason, that worked really well. Like, I don't know why, but it bought it. Like, the way they shot it, the way it was framed, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, kind of like the moon landing.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to see him do that indefinitely with planets and stars, like the "I crush your head."
It's way
skit.
more realistic than the moon landing.
All right, we are just about out of time. I like that Josh Boyda is predicting that Captain America is going to die. I think that's the most poetic way to get about
That's
this.
very much. I feel like him, Iron Man. I mean, the whole like the legacy characters, like
The OGs.
yeah. I feel like there's a bunch of them are gonna go. Right.
Wow,
That's my prediction.
that's bold.
They're expensive. They want them. They've been talking about how like after the Avengers movies, not this one, maybe the fourth, like Avengers 4, but they've been talking about how like they're trying to like change this big changes. It's
Yeah, how much
almost
longer
Yeah,
are
they
they
want
gonna
it. They
right?
want it to be a legacy. They want to be able to recast
Right.
and bring in new
Yeah,
characters
how much
and move on.
How much longer are they going to be able to do this stuff? I don't want to see like Avengers like 20 or something.
Why
where,
not?
Like
Why-
Robert
Really?
Downey Jr. is like Stan
no,
Lee's
but
age.
I think,
Oh.
no, but I think that's the point, right? They're gonna get rid of some of these
Yeah.
older characters and like start fresh with, Black Panther and Spider-Man and sort of.
Yeah, what do you
carrying
think?
the
What do you
new
think
torch.
Stan Lee's cameo is going to be
Maybe he'll.
in Avengers?
Well, he was already a Watcher in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
I say put him in like slave Leia outfit,
Oh,
like next to
yeah.
Thanos' throne.
Yeah, they can do that because
Ugh.
Disney owns both of them. Now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, what if they put in like
That's terrible.
like Kylo Ren?
Kylo
in the next.
He just jumps in out of nowhere.
How
starts
far
walking
away are we from giant franchise crossover because Disney owns the world
And then,
now?
like Kingdom Heart movie with Star Wars and
Well,
and
you know,
Marvel.
if
Marvel
Fox and
and-
Disney get together, like all of a sudden Wolverine, we can just get Wolverine in there. That would just make my day.
There's still a chance. There's always a chance.
Always a chance.
We have a newbie in the chat. His name's James McDonald. Welcome.
Hey.
He's asking if you can ask any questions about tech. He's new.
Do it.
Yeah, it's we're out of
Yeah,
time
man.
today, but we are on every morning from 11:15 Eastern till about now.
Yeah.
So hop on board
Barring-
the notification squad.
Barring some schedule changes.
Sometimes we answer questions on Twitter too, but
Yep.
don't count on it.
Follow us on Twitter and
Well, we'll answer them, but we won't necessarily answer them correctly.
all right, that's
Or
it.
the way you want them answered.
We do have to wrap, so hopefully James and everybody will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. All right. If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, and you can call us up on an Amazon Echo.
Right
See
on.
y'all tomorrow.
Yep.
Take care, everybody.
See ya.